Welcome.
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 欢迎
Salud palabra.
Selamat datang.
Welcome to Wesley Mission.
Welcome to Wesley Mission.
We're a church
With different congregations.
with people from all around Australia.
and from all around the world.
We love to worship together on Sundays.
But we're not just a Sunday church.
We're an every day of the week church.
We're a church at work in the local community.
Here in Sydney.
And beyond.
In the name of Jesus Christ.
We serve people just like Jesus did.
We worship community.
Natutapwai dengan Samoa.
Ibadah kami dalam bahasa Indonesia.
我们有国语敬拜。
We come from lots of different cultures.
But we share one spirit. We belong to each other.
There's a place here for you.
Together.
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 Together. Together.
Together.
We are Wesley Mission.
We are Wesley Mission.
We are Wesley Mission.
We are Wesley Mission.
We'd love for you to join us.
We love you, Lord. Mengalirlah di tempat ini ya Tuhan. Roh Kudus-Mu ya Tuhan. Katakan I love you, Lord. I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, and I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful, all my life. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, and I will sing of the goodness of God. Dengan kesembuhan hati kita, haleluya. I love your voice. Yes, Lord. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. I have seen in the goodness of God. Hey! And all my life you have been faithful. All my life, yeah. All my life you have been so, so good. And every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life, and all my life you have been so, so good. Yes, Lord. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life you have been faithful, yes Lord. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, and I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing, hallelujah. All my life, and all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You've been so, so good to us, Lord. We're so grateful, Jesus. Hallelujah. Kemuliaan terjadi di tempat ini ya Tuhan. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
We have been through some storms. Haven't we? A few short weeks ago, it seems like a long time ago, a few short weeks ago, we were emerging from the COVID storm again. And that storm, I think, has taken a real toll on all of us and the people that we lead and the people that we serve in ways that I think we're really not going to be able to fully take stock of for a long, long time. But it's been a storm. And then with just as one storm is starting to pass, another hit. This terrible war in Ukraine. And it's intensifying by the day. Invading armies storming across the country, bombs and missiles and shells falling on the people of besieged cities. And we see these heartbreaking scenes of human suffering and pain. And where is it going to lead this week? Where is it going to lead next week? We don't know. But there's dark clouds all the way to the horizon. Then last week, these floods. First in Queensland, then in New South Wales, and now again, more in New South Wales. Hundreds of thousands of people forced to evacuate. Whole communities devastated by storming floodwaters. So many of our neighbors who have lost everything or are losing everything. Wesley Mission staff, including members of this senior staff group, have been right in the thick of it. There's so many stories of our people alongside vulnerable people, seniors and people with disabilities and children in care and their carers, Wesley Mission staff people doing what we do when we're at our best, being with people in their places of pain, in their hardest places, coming alongside people in whatever storms they're facing. And for many people in our state, it has been trauma after trauma. Trauma on top of trauma. Drought and bushfires and waves of COVID and waves of floodwaters. And there have been personal storms, the kind that don't make the news. The kind we know in our own lives, in our own families, the kind that we know in those closest to us, that take their own toll. Trauma upon trauma upon trauma. And that can make a huge impact on individuals and families and communities, including the people in this room. It can have a huge impact on us as leaders. You bear responsibility for so much. For the teams that you lead and for the work that they do, and there's so much at stake in the work that they do. There's literally lives at stake in the work that we do every day. And to top it all off, we lost a couple of great cricketers last week. And it may seem like with all the magnitude of human suffering around us, it might seem almost odd, almost misplaced to grieve the death of a cricketer. But it doesn't matter whether you're a fan or not when someone who is an immortalized sports star dies at 52. It reminds us all of our own mortality, of the fragility of human life. And Psalm 46 meets us there. I want to look at Psalm 46. Psalm 46 doesn't leave us in that place, but it meets us in that place, honestly. It's not a happy clappy psalm, but it's a joyful, hopeful psalm, a psalm that meets us in the reality of our storm. It's I think it's my favorite psalm, maybe because of that. It's a psalm that meets us in that place where it seems like the world is just spinning out of control. It meets us there. The psalmist speaks of roaring and destructive waters, overwhelming waters. And the psalmist speaks of roaring and destructive tyrants and their armies. And here's the thing, they aren't disconnected individual events, isolated events in the psalm. They're all part of the same big storm. Like wind and lightning and thunder and hail, all part of one big storm. And the psalmist uses the same verb in Hebrew to talk about the storms of nations and the storms of nature. For those of you who speak Hebrew, you know that word, right? Holmo. Holmo. It's translated in some translations as roaring or an uproaring. Roaring. This roaring and uproaring the storms of nature and of nations. The Holmo has this sense of all of the expressions of human experience, all the storms of human experience conspiring together, threatening to overwhelm us. And it's not just the storms out there, it's the storms in here, the storms in our souls. And we see that in Psalm 42, Psalm 43, and Isaiah and Jeremiah and elsewhere, but I just want to share it with you right here in Psalm 43. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so whole? Why so stormy, disturbed within me? That whole storm inside is part of the same storm as the storm outside. It's all part of the same storm, our storm. And when storms threaten to overwhelm us, we humans have a few common reactions. I just want to share one with you. I think you're familiar with it. You remember the beginning of COVID? Remember people's reaction to the storm? Remember something we were short of? We were short of a lot of things. We were short of toilet paper because there was this rush, this panic buying. And you know, it's not just COVID. Where I'm from, this happens on a regular basis, this panic buying. Every single time there's forecast snow, there is a panic buy on bread, milk, and eggs. Everybody knows they have to have French toast when there's a snowstorm coming. I don't know why it is, but it happens every time. And we get a lot of snow where I'm from. It's not like, ooh, we've never had this. But no, it happens every year, lots of times a year. And every time it's forecast, everybody rushes to the store to get their bread and their milk and their eggs. Why? Because the storm is bigger than us. We have no control over the storm, but we can control eggs. We can control bread and we can control milk. And that gives us a sense that we're in control. We've got something to grasp hold of, something to grasp onto. And so we get this frenetic activity that goes on. As soon as the forecasters say snow's coming, everybody's in this rush, and you've got to be the first to the shops or you're not going to get any. And so there is this frenetic activity that happens every single time. Frenetic activity. And it's not just panic buying. It all kinds of frenetic running around and doing makes us feel like we're in control of whatever storm threatens to overwhelm us, threatens to make us feel out of control. Frenetic activity is not the same as purposeful, intentional, coordinated action. It's not about doing good, it's about feeling good or feeling like we're doing good. We've got to do something. We've got to buy some bread. And this frenetic activity is a natural human reaction to a storm. Contrast that frenetic activity to the voice of God in Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. They're beautiful words. But can you really hear them speaking into your storm this morning? They're beautiful words, but we're not quite sure what to do with them. How do we be still? What does it look like for us to be still? How is it even possible for us to be still with all the storms roaring and raging around us and within us? We're going to get to that in a minute. But first, I just want you to hear this psalm of hope and promise for you this morning. Just listen. You can close your eyes if you like. You can just let the words soak into your soul. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength. A very present help in trouble. Hear that promise. It's not that God will pluck us up out of trouble, pluck us up out of the storm, but that God is with us in the trouble. A very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar, Haomal. Though the mountains tremble with its tumult. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The nations are in an uproar, Haomal. The kingdoms totter. He utters his voice. The earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Listen to this refrain. The Lord of hosts. There's something happening in this refrain that's really important. It's a key to understanding the whole psalm. We'll hear this refrain again, but notice this. The Lord of hosts, that title for God, of all the titles for God in the Old Testament, this is the one that really speaks to God's power. This is the Lord Almighty. This is God powerful over everything. Lord Sabaoth. This is the strong God. But look at where the strength is. With us. In this loving relationship. In this intimate, personal presence. Not in these mighty acts, but in this very close personal presence. And the God of Jacob is not the force of the universe. This is the God of Jacob. This is a loving relationship, a God who makes promises to us and keeps promises to us generation after generation. Loving relationship. And in that loving relationship, in that presence with us, we find our strength. And that refrain that holds these together, this strength in loving relationship, is key to understanding what's going on here in this psalm, where the hope is in this psalm. So we know the desolations that the roaring waters bring. We know the desolations that the roaring armies bring. Hear now the promise, verse 8. Come, behold the works of the Lord. See what desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear and burns the shields with fire. He tramples the tank. He crushes the cruise missile. He melts the artillery into molten puddles. Be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. To be still is not to kick back and relax. It's not a sort of passive resignation. Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't need to do anything. God's taking care of everything. That is not what it means to be still. And we see that in Mark 4. Mark 4, Jesus is with his disciples. They're on a mission. And he's got them out in the boat with him, and they're crossing over to the land of the Gerasenes. This is a really tough mission. It's among people who are different from them, very different from them, very, very foreign circumstances they're going into now. But in the midst of that, verse 37, Mark 4, a great storm arose and waves beat into the boat so that the boat was already being swamped. But Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And the disciples frenetically woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he woke up and he rebuked the wind and the waves. And he said, "Peace, be still." And you know, he's not just talking to the waves here. He's not just talking to the wind. He's not doing a magic trick here. He's speaking right to the storm in the souls of his followers. And those disciples in that boat, feeling the waves crashing in on them, he's speaking into our souls right now. Peace, be still. Be still. This is the storm ceased. But that's not the end of this story. You've got to keep reading. Because when the storm ceased, they got to the other side and they got onto the beach and they got out, and it was the most intense, full-on mission experience that the disciples had experienced in their whole discipleship journey. So this was not kick back, I got everything, you just relax. No, they got out of the boat, and it was, there was a guy there who had been in chains by his local community, and he'd broken free of the chains, and these people worried about their economics and the pigs. It was just a huge thing that the disciples are engaged in, this really intense mission experience. Jesus doesn't speak peace into their storm so that they can have a nice siesta, they can have an easy ride. Jesus speaks peace, be still, into their storm so that they can speak peace into the storms of others, so that they have peace to share with others. Not to run around frenetically trying to fix everything or control everything, not to be frozen or overwhelmed, shutting down, shutting out, shutting off. Now, we find peace in the midst of our storm when we are still in relationship with our loving God. Still in his presence, still in his promise, still in his provision. And it's in that stillness, centered in the peace that God gives us, that Wesley mission teams have been speaking peace into flood-ravaged communities over this past week. Because here's the thing. We know the power of presence. We know the power of presence, of being with people in their dark places, in their hard places, in their painful places. We know how important it is to be with people in their pain, to be with people in their struggles, and to be with people in their storm. We know the power of being with people who have lost their homes or who have no home to lose. We know the power of being with people who need someone on the other end of the phone to help them find a reason to live. We know the power of being with a mom in her storm so that she can be with her kids in theirs. We know the power of being with people who are isolated and misunderstood, who are disadvantaged and disregarded, people who are inundated and overwhelmed. We are with them every day. In all the manifestations of the storm, we are with them, letting them know that they are valued, that they are honored, and that they are not alone. We know that before people can truly trust us to provide help for them, they need to trust that we are with them, that we're there with them. So when we say that we're doing all the good we can, we're not talking about frenetic activity, running around trying to fix everything and fix everyone. We're saying we're here for you. We're with you. And we will still be with you. We will still be with you in whatever storm you face. In God's love and by His grace, we will still be with you when the storm has passed and you're cleaning up the mess. We will be with you still. And we will still be with you when you're rebuilding and recovering your life, your family, your community. We will be with you still. And we will still be with you when you're ready to celebrate. And you need somebody who's ready to celebrate with you, who wants to celebrate with you. We will still be with you. We will be with you still. God is with us, Wesley Mission. And my fellow leaders, I leave you with this. Know that God is with you today and through this week and in this season that's unfolding before us. God is with you in the midst of all the storm, speaking peace that we may speak peace, that we may share peace. Peace of His presence. God is with us. And He is calling us and empowering us and emboldening us as a mission to continue His work in word and deed. He is calling us and empowering us and emboldening us to be a very present help in trouble. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge.
Be still.